I tried calling on God about it and praying about it, and it seemed like I wasn't getting any direct answers. And it's just, and the stories in the Bible are basically just like how God comes through for the people, and God has already come through for me in my mental game. And so now it's just like, what do I do with, like, how do I glorify God through this, and what makes things, like, what can I do with this, with the knowledge that I'm getting, or that I have had, and the healing that I've experienced. Like, how do I share that with other people? And the best thing that I can think of is writing about it. And that's even a part of my story too, is like why I'm even writing a book in the first place, is because somebody told me that they had a feeling that I would write a book. So prophecy is important. So if you're a prophetic person, thank you. It's just, but some prophecies are like hard to deal with too. And that's something that I was reading in, I made a note in it in my Bible, like, I want to say a week or two ago, about, here, just a second, let me pull it out. So in John 11, verse 51, it said, it's talking about, the Pharisees, and how the leader of the Pharisees had this prophecy that Jesus, or one man, would die for many. Or sorry, here, let me just read it. He prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but also to gather into one the children of God who are scattered abroad. So from that day on, they made plans to put him to death. And that prophecy, if I was Jesus hearing that prophecy, I'd be like, I don't want to be put to death. Thank you very much. I don't want to do that. But like, that's what happened to Jesus. And the note that I have on it was, Jesus' prophecy was negative and or painful, but the fruit of his pain was well worth it. And I put in our Hebrews 12:11. Let's go to Hebrews 12:11. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Therefore, lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees, and make straight the paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. Wow, Hebrews 13:6 says, so we can confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me? So I feel like this is talking, but for me, what I went through was like getting disciplined and thinking I knew everything, that I could decide my life, and instead I should be going to God first, and like at least searching for answers from God and looking for that. And I feel like he has answered in a way, and I feel like to move to Oregon, because I had a gut feeling that I shouldn't have left when I did. And so now I feel like I'm just gonna fix my mistake, I guess you could say. And yeah, so fix my mistake of leaving my aunt's house too soon, which I don't know if it was a mistake, because I can fix it and change it. And I've been really scared to go back, because I got used to the familiarity of being at my mom's house. Like, sometimes our parents are good for us and sometimes they're not, and we have to know our boundaries. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at today. I'm missing community today, so I think I'm gonna try and build one on here online and kind of go from there. Yeah, so just like little life reflections of like, this is what's going on in my life, this is where I'm at, and let the story, just a quick little hi, check in. I hope you're doing great. Keep up the good work, whatever you're working on. And if you're not working on something, change that, because one of my values is learning, hence the glasses. No, I'm just kidding. And so I want to go back to school, I think, because learning is something that's important to me. And if I'm not learning, then I feel like kind of like I'm being lazy, I guess you could say. So right now I'm learning about trauma and how it affects people's minds when they're younger, and how false belief systems can lead people down the wrong path, and or just here, I'll have a little visual for you. Okay, I did this really fast and don't mind the drawing, but so here's a person, right? So we've got this girl and she's got this sad child inside of her. Okay, say this kid had something traumatic happen to her. And side note, trauma is different for every person because everybody has different like sensitivity levels, okay? So say this girl has a belief system that she has no value, and intrinsically everybody knows that they do have value. So then these two ideas are conflicting, right? And this person's like an adult now and they're trying to make a decision about what to do with their life, okay? And this one belief system is telling them, oh no, you have no value, you need to just stay where you are and don't change anything. And then there's the one that has value, that's like happy-go-lucky, and that one is saying, oh hey, you have value, you should go, you can do it, you're strong. And so there's two identities or belief systems exist within that same person, and it causes this inner turmoil or this inner conflict. And I'm learning through this book that I'm reading about trauma and the trauma coping system, which is basically what that diagram was about. The negative one can be healed and it serves a purpose, and you have to talk to that and like earn trust with that wrong belief system believing identity. And so then when you can reconcile that false identity or the lie that was formed because of trauma, that then you can reintegrate and have that belief system changed, and then have the happy-go-lucky, strong individual help you make the decisions, or not have that inner conflict anymore of those two belief systems. So that's really interesting, and I'm only on chapter 3, but it's really hard to read, so I'll update you as I go along. Yeah, and so I feel like that's kind of what happens with a lot of people, and I can kind of see it because people will subconsciously have different roles come up, and like the belief system that like you have no value, or that I have to protect myself and that nobody else is going to protect me, causes a certain level of like thought processes that are like illogical. And so if you have illogical thinking that doesn't make sense, you're like, why am I having these thoughts? There's like probably a part of you that has a belief system that your primary presenter person does not align with. So you've got these conflicting belief systems, and when you've got that, it just creates this turmoil and indecision basically. And you can and those thoughts that you get that are like, what? I don't believe that, but there's a part of you that does believe it. And so that part is the part that needs help and healing. And I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet of how it works. So I'm leaving you on a cliffhanger. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been learning about. So I hope you enjoy this journey, going on this journey with me of learning about trauma and healing from it, and how Jesus takes you along the way. For me, it's been freedom fighters. For other people, it might be Christian counseling. It's important that your counselor listens to you and listens to those belief systems, because a lot of those are built when you're really little, when you're young. So yeah, just I love you. You're doing great. Keep up the good work.